Good afternoon, everyone. Again, welcome back to Crossroads Calling, where faith meets real life. I'm host Joy, joined by my co-hosts Orama and Bishop Tipe here today. Today we're carrying on the topic where we left off last time about mental blocks and how these things can stop you from progressing and getting to new places and becoming who you're meant to be, whether it's inner thoughts or taking external thoughts from what other people are saying into you and speaking into your life, how those words can affect you, and just trying to how to get out of those ruts where you think you can't progress past a certain point because of ABC, these mental barriers in your lives. And do you want to add anything to that?
We're speaking about confidence. Confidence is it's an important part of life. I think you can feel confidence.
Yeah.
Competence also comes from confidence. People who are competent are very confident in their abilities. They've done the necessary work, the preparation, to gain that confidence. But when you don't have confidence, I think that's one of the scariest places to be, especially as a young person. I'd say when you're not feeling confident. And you're viewing the external world around you, it seems as though everybody except you is confident, which is an interesting place to be, because at that point, like you said, you don't move forward. You let the lack of confidence stop you from progressing because you believe what your situation is, that's it. That's just how it is. But confidence is fleeting. It comes and goes.
It is, literally. I was just thinking about, there's some days where you feel like you're him.
You're the person. Yeah, you're the man.
That person, you're him.
Absolutely.
And there's some days where you feel like, what am I doing? What's going on?
Yeah.
Is this even meant to be what I'm supposed to be doing in life? So, and it's so interesting how you can have those days where you feel like on top of the world, and sometimes not.
Faction.
And I think that's just we all go through it.
We do.
In different areas as well. There might be one area which you're super confident in, another area which you're not so confident in, and it's just so interesting how that's it just makes up a life. So yeah.
Well, what would you say your view on confidence is?
Yeah, I think it's a very, very vital area or aspect of our lives, because we are who we are because of the confident boosts that people have given us, or we have given ourselves, to our life where we have achieved something that is worth pointing at or worth noting. And every person who has achieved or succeeded, it has all been a question of a confident place that they attained, or the confidence somebody gave them, or it came from self. And even in the Bible, so this is the confidence that we have, even in our faith. So you discover that we don't just achieve because we are able, but because we were confident in what we heard or what was spoken in the word or somebody preached about, and then we took our confidence from that and we started applying faith until we achieved and we overcame. So that's why it's very important today for the Gen Z grouping around us and everybody who is listening out there to know some of the key things that can develop or can creep in when you lack self-confidence, but also the factors that contribute to the lack of self-confidence, how you can generate self-confidence, how you can deal with situations where you are falling short, because sometimes it may not only be you, but your environment, others around you who have so much influence on your life, feeding into you things that can bring down your confidence, that can dilute your confidence. And so there's so much that is happening in this life, but that happens on a daily basis that affects our confidence or moral levels. And you see it day in, day out in people who are achieving or people who are underachieving. It is all a question of confidence. Able people, gifted people, and people who have all the resources, sometimes you find that due to a change of environment or a wrong decision, they've gone into a place where the impact of the confidence that used to be once in them has left.
Vanished,
And then they are in an environment where they are showing a lot of lack of confidence and they don't achieve anymore.
I want to give an example of high confidence that I saw this week. I'm sure we all watched the PSG and the Bayern game. And people were saying, the defending was terrible from both teams. But if you watched the game, the defenders weren't as bad as people made out. What happened was the attackers were so confident in their ability that they were able to do that. And I think the four wingers that I saw, two on each team, and even maybe Dembele as well. But what I noticed is that regardless of whether they beat their man or not, they had the confidence to go again, regardless of outcome. And that, to me, it was magnetic because you saw people's reactions to the level of confidence on display. And then you compare that to probably what we watch in the Premier League week in, week out, where it's critiqued because the wingers don't take on their man. They're not as confident to beat the defender. But I find it interesting in high-level athletes where how well and successful they are comes down to how confident your best players are in their own ability. That assuredness of who they are, of regardless of outcome, they're able to replicate that same level of confidence. I think that's where you strike gold, when you can repeat the confidence that you have daily, regardless of outcome. I think that's a special place to be in.
Do you know what, on top of that as well, because we'll just mention this as well off camera, but in terms of football players and confidence, I think environment is a key part of, what makes a player, who they are. Because even some case studies, we're talking about Jack Grealish, for example. You see at Aston Villa how he was a captain of a team, he was a star, would probably started for England in that left wing position. Then he came over to City, and maybe because of the environment he's in now, the stature of a club, the talent around him as well, and expectations, he might have felt, I don't know how he felt, but clearly you can see how his ability has dropped from where he was before to, and obviously there's so many other players who've been like that, who've moved clubs, and you've seen they've stopped playing as well. So
I think as an example you gave, and even what Joy is saying here, is a very practical one, because it's just current, recently we saw it. But you can also see that environmental factors and the presence of certain authorities or stalwarts in that area can affect your confidence levels, because even the defenders you are mentioning, they may not be crude, or we can not categorically say that they didn't have confidence, but even their confidence level was seen to be falling short because of the type of strikers they were facing.
Yeah.
Now, this happens in many occasions where somebody has been doing well all along, but just from nowhere in the company, in the setup, just some people who are a higher level grade have come. You discover that if you are not a self-morale booster, like David, he was encouraging himself.
Yeah.
So not everybody of us can be encouraged yourself, but you discover that you're just surrounded by these stalwarts, and you discover that where I was the star, I was the star performer, but these guys have done even much better than, so they've taken you into another environment where you are falling short. You may be very good, but you discover that you really need to say, no, let me match up. Let me match that, and let me try to scale up to get to that place. That's where the boosting of self-confidence comes in. Because if you are somebody who has achieved something up there in the field that I'm following, and I am coming behind you, I should be excited to learn from you. I was just saying off camera that, there are times that people look at your end result as a star performer, star achiever, and they think it's as easy as it is looking on paper. But when they sit down with you to learn the logistics, the practicalities, and the things that you do or you are doing to get there, they'll discover that you really need to tick a lot of boxes.
Absolutely.
You need to do a lot of preparation. You need to put a lot of effort, a lot of study, a lot of research. It's the same with the Word of God. You read Bible stories. There are certain Bible stories that they have just given you the end result. But when you start to check on the environment and what that thing happened and what somebody had to go through, so you are checking from chapter to chapter of the Bible to checking an environment in a certain book, and this is the background to this story. That's why you say, is this all what had to be done? And that's why we have to apply ourselves to make sure that there's work to be done. It's not as simple and as rosy as it appears. You have to do a lot of work. You have to do a lot of investment. You have to do a lot of encouragement of yourself, and also a lot of self-discipline that goes along with it. So these are very practical areas of life that If you are looking around a lot, you may get discouraged. But also, if you are looking around with fear, you cannot go far. So you need to balance up to say, I can do up to that level, but the person can help me. So at the same time, you have to be very careful that nobody dresses you down.
Yeah.
Nobody also demoralizes you, because there are certain factors that come as an environment that will be a demoralizing factor or environment, where somebody who is so influential in your life, or who, when they speak, you listen, and what they are saying may not be in line with your destiny, but just because it came from them, you are demoralized. So you need also to strike the balance there. You need to be very careful who you are allowing to affect your confidence levels, because otherwise, if I am so attached to Joe, and Joe is that best friend, or when he speaks, when Joe speaks, I have to run, I have to do. You discover that if it is not in line with what God has destined for me, I will operate in a lack of confidence, because Joe has already spoken and has already said, no, this cannot work for me. Even if I try to do this, I've already demoralized myself. Even if a tutor, the best tutor in town, comes, teaches me, you can do it, you have already shown the ability to do it, but because what is lingering at the back of my mind is what Joe said. Yeah, so all those are areas that we need to balance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you know what? You just reminded me of a time I'm thinking of when I was in sixth form. And do you know when you're sixth form, you pick your 3 or 4 that you want to study, right?
Yeah,
You
your
start some
options,
of the options, yeah. And I remember one of the options I picked was physics, right? A-level physics.
A-level physics is mind games.
Yeah, because even at secondary school, I thought like, okay, it wasn't too bad.
Too difficult.
It wasn't too
Yeah,
difficult of the 3 sciences.
GCSE physics was actually really good.
It was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. But when I got to A-level physics, I thought, wow, the things they were teaching me, I didn't even. And it felt like in the class, I was an imposter, because I'm like, everyone around
knows.
me knows what's going on, and I'm not comfortable here. So even then, the decision I made was I went to my teacher and I said, "Can I want to switch my subject, because I don't feel like I can do this." I was honest about it. I said, "I don't think I can," and he was understanding. He was like, "Okay, that's fine, I understand." And I picked sociology instead.
Yeah.
But the thing is, with sociology, I loved this. It was probably my favorite subject I've ever done. I really understood it. The teachers were great. The class was great. But now that this conversation, I'm thinking back at it. I'm thinking, it was a change of subjects, a change of environment sort of thing. But could I have stayed and done physics? I could have, roughed it out and done something.
And tried it. Yeah.
Yeah, mate, because I'm thinking, could I have? Or did I make the right decision in switching subjects and excelling at this? Because that was my best subject, really, at A-level.
At A-level, yeah. It's interesting because I did the same. I took GCSE physics. I stayed it for the whole year.
Yeah.
And of course you get better because you do it. But
true,
regardless, I think because academically you kind of understand the levels that you operate at. And physics, I wasn't operating at the level I wanted, which was unfortunate. But it's interesting because now I think back and, you said you left it and you wonder, was it the right thing? I stay and I wonder, was it the right thing, So I feel like regardless of which option you take, you're always going to have the what if aspect. But in terms of changing your environment, it reminds me of, I think, Olise at Crystal Palace. He was already a confident player, the way he played.
True.
What he then did is he moved to, like Bishop was saying, when you move up in an organization and now you're around even more competent, even more confident people, you either rise to that level or you just fall. And now that he's at Bayern, we're regarding him as one of the best wingers in the world, because not only did he stay at that level, he in fact increased his level once he got even around better players. True. I always find that when I'm in a new environment surrounded by people who I may look up to and are more competent than I am in that field, it's always a case of you have to find your own identity within where you are. And it kind of takes you to change who you were, where they previously knew you, and regard you as this confident being. There are some places I can go and they'll regard me as one of the best runners they see there. But when I now go to races and stuff and I'm surrounded by elite runners who that's their whole life, I'm not the same way I am when I'm viewed with my run club, And that's it's an interesting place to be. But I think confidence and identity go hand in hand. You have to know who you are so deeply.
Obviously, it boils down to you yourself. It's what you do. It's not more of what others will do. I was saying, if I was to put a scale on confidence boosting or confidence boosters, I would say 60% is yourself, if not even 70%. Then the other 30 or 40% is outsiders, because here is a scenario. You're given a scenario of football players and what we have seen here in the Premier League. I don't want maybe to mention names because supporters of other clubs will say I'm mentioning other clubs. But I've seen players that were a gem, a jewel in this club this particular year, and that club has done well, or this player has gone to big grounds where the environment, you are talking of fortresses, but this player single-handed has messed up everybody there, and you see this player is good. And then he promotes himself to go to a better club, even better than where he's coming from. And now we expect that in this club, which is maybe even the champion of the Premier League this season, now they've brought this player here. You discover that the player has come there, he looks at the environment, he sees the stars that are where he was like the star performer. Everything was revolving around him. And so he didn't need any person to motivate him, because wherever he went, he's a star. Everybody, or the t-shirt, or his name. When you are making sales in Southeast Asia, it's all about him. Everything is revolving about. So when he gets into the stadium, the song is all about him. Others may score, they may defend people, but he himself, just a touch of the ball, the whole stadium is singing. He doesn't need a lot because it is already in net. It's inside him. You know? Now he moves, he goes to a place where he discovers that there are stars that have won the World Cup. They've won the African Cup of Nations. They've won this Premier League several years. Champions League, you have just won curling with your club in that beautiful season you had. Now you come here, you are now comparing yourself. I've seen a player who scored 20-something goals at the previous cup. Here, he's failing to score the whole season. Until one day when the ball was stuck in the mud, the keeper just got to finish. The keeper is beaten. So all I'm trying to say is that it is boiling down to the self. Yet we've seen a player who has come from another league. Yes, he was a star, but they say, I can promote myself to go to the Premiership and join these champions. And when he comes, he say, here is an opportunity for me to make myself a name, to become a world star, to become Baron d'Or one day. And you see, he takes the opportunity. So you have to seize the moment. Make the most out of the opportunity. Even when you come in places where there's a lot of stardom, you say, I'll be among the stars. I'll be maybe the shining star among them or above them. Like you are giving the examples of a player who has come from a team where he was a star performer. He comes to a team of many stars, but he fades. He does not excel. Because inside him, you say, hey, it's like it's a learning curve. Yes, you have to learn, but sometimes if you are a good player, like you have given an example for this, you still shine amongst the stars because you are just doing what you are best at, you are good at. And this is what has made stars out of certain players who have gone into an environment, they are not phased off by what they see there. They say, I'll be among them, I will rise up and one day they'll sing about me, or they'll sing for me like they were singing at that previous club. It happens all the time. So you see it every day, and it's the same in our everyday life. Can a parent be a demoralizer or somebody who influences my confidence levels? Yes. Can a teacher do the same thing? That you say, this student cannot do better the way he's struggling with physics. So it's up to you to say that, in this particular case, this one is about to be my steward, my tutor, my leader. I think they are getting it wrong. It's different from how I am, the morale I have inside me. I think I can do this. I think I'm made for this. Let me prove them wrong. That's where confidence boosting comes. You have to prove yourself or prove others wrong. When you are so confident about something that you know, I was designed to do this, I was created to do this, even though they have been my tutor, but on this particular one, they are getting it wrong. So I'm all out to prove them wrong. You can do it. You can do it. Because we have seen David, he goes into war with Goliath, so took all his armory, the king's clothes and the weapons that only the king had gave him. Can you try this one? The guy tried and said, no. I've been used to using a sling in the bush, fighting lions and bears. Let me use what I'm comfortable with. It takes lots of. It says you are a stalwart, and if I war, you are Jesse, and what have you, and everybody will be king. Talking no, but look at the end of the women were dancing and singing. Saul has slain his thousands, but David is 10,000. Why? Because he went into his comfortable zone. He was not faced out by the occasion. He was not even demoralized that he could not wear the king's armor. No, he was just he was himself, but he had that confidence, and he ran towards this man with a whole Philistine well-equipped army behind this man. He went. Why? He was a young person. He was Gen Z, full of confidence. Full of confidence, because he said his own brothers who were professional soldiers were discouraging him right there at the site. And many others would say, who is this little shepherd boy? What is he doing? What is he saying? And no, he had never been in that field, but the confidence was there. And he went for it. He seized the moment, made the most out of that opportunity, and there he was. He won the war and won the name, the accolade that in the nation a star has been born. But you know, the star was not born here. The star was born in the bush. When he developed his skills and his confidence amidst the lions and the bears in the bush. Here he was. So a star is already in the making, is already in you. All he needs is to come out, seize his moment, seize her moment, and go for it. And then we'll be talking of another star that has come into town.
I was going to say, on top of that, so, you know, it's clear that, you know, to be successful, you need to have that rock solid mindset and a self-confidence within yourself. But then I think that leads to the question of how do you get that confidence? And then, whilst I was thinking about that, I thought, of course, people develop and grow confidence, but you know, people are also born without confidence, because I've seen little children, some of them younger, they're so confident the way they can both themselves, they speak, they do things, they're so outgoing. Obviously, those other children, their peers were maybe more shy, not as confident. And you see as they grow up, those traits of this person's always been an outgoing, confident person, puts himself out there. I can see it from a little child. The other person may have had to develop that over time to become more outgoing, confident. So I'm thinking, you know, how do you know, start that? Is it some people already have it inherent with them, and they, you know, other people have to build up over time? But how do those people who maybe aren't so confident, how do they build up over time?
Because it's a combination of factors.
I'm thinking it's a strange one, because I would say from my own personal experience, I've always just had it. You know, I've always just had it, and it's just developed. You know what I mean? Whereas I know for other people, it may be bloomed later in life. So I think it can be a combination of both.
I'll say for me, I'm literally the opposite. Like I think I've had to bloom it later in life. I can see from when I was younger to now how much more confident I am in so many other areas of life. As a person as well, I'm more outgoing. Like, for example, even coming up here, do you know, like if I'm speaking up front at church for whatever reason, before when I was younger, I didn't want to do it. I was, you know, felt that confidence to be in front of speaking to people. I couldn't do it. But now it's like a regular thing. If I had to do it, it's an everyday thing. Speaking to new people, everyday thing. I'm able to do that now, but it was over years of developing, coming into, you know, how I am. But as you said, it was like you was always like that.
Yeah, I was always like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, what I can start on this, I can start by saying that every person who comes into this world has been given a purpose by the Creator. There's a purpose in your life. There's something that God has designed you for, things that you are best at or you are better in more than others in that particular area. Now, when you discover what you have, like Orama said, I think I've always had this, then you are very, very very fortunate, because you're already on course. You already know what you need in life, what you need to do, or you have a good idea of where you are going. But many of us, we discover along the line as we grow, as we learn, as we develop. There are certain instincts that take time to mature and get into grips with your destiny in us. But from whichever angle you are coming, what you must know is that what you are destined to do better or good in is a thing that you need to develop also within you. By yourself, you need to do a lot of things. Number one, you need to learn that area. You need to have a proper knowledge of what this is all about. It's a field, it's a career, it's a functioning area, it's a grace. You still need to study it. You need to get somebody who can develop your thinking to be focused in that area, to say, what is this all about? I just feel that I like flying. Little boy, I will be a pilot. You succeed when you go to a school where they will now show you pilot. The task of a pilot is A, B, C. It goes into this area. So that is a small contributory factor. The major factor to me in here is that the practical aspect. What am I doing with what I'm gaining, what I am learning? The practice makes perfect. We have to be practical, which means you cannot succeed in any area of life by sitting down or by just learning about it and not applying it. So it means every day I am putting the bolts and nuts together, trying to tie the loose ends together. I am now going to the practice. I am trying to see how I can fly, how I can develop wings, how I can do this, how I can speed up, slow down in the air. So I am doing all I can to make sure that that thing becomes a practical thing in my life and what have you. Along the line, I'll meet challenges, I'll meet tests, I'll need to be tested, I'll need to be left alone. So I have to be determined. You say, no matter what the hardness of the route to destiny will be, no matter how tough it will be, no matter what the struggles and the challenges are on the way, I will make it one of these days. Those who are making it, how did they start? Maybe some of them haven't even started from a better place than I have done. So you start encouraging yourself to say, you know what, it will happen. It will happen, even if it may take long, but I'm going for it and what have you. It reaches to a place where now you feel that you are a comfortable or confident person by yourself because of where you're coming from. The teaching, the tutoring, the mentoring, whatever, and the practical aspect of what you have been applying to know how to do it by yourself. Then the person who is helping you will just be like an added advantage because the confidence that has been built in you over the years or over the time you have been studying has taken you to a place of determination. You are now determined. You are a person who is going towards a certain terminus. You have made up your mind. It's stuck in you, it's stayed in you that I will do it, I'm going to do it. With or without, when problems are there, when there are no problems, but this is something that is achievable. And as you go with that type of mindset, you discover that things are happening. Even if it may be slow, you discover that I'm getting there, I'm going and what have you. So let's give an example. Joe is like a computer wizard, but he's not developed to be a computer wizard overnight.
Not at all.
There were times that he looked at his environment and said, in this room there are people.
Serious.
But you know what he did? What he applied himself. He never gave up. He went back to the drawing board. He studied. He went in depth. Now that he has applied, he has practiced, and he has gotten to the place that he's doing it with so much confidence and determination. He may have even overtaken those stalwarts that were in his life in those days and what have you. Now I'm learning today, I shouldn't just rush to the end product of what Joe has gotten, but I should sit down with Joe. Joe, I'm starting this journey. How did you start yourself? What did you go through? Is there a time that something went wrong, we were almost giving up? What did you do when you were at the point of giving up? How did you relate with the outside world? Were there other people who came and pushed you further, or were there people who were pushing you down? Did you meet? So all those things as Joe is explaining to me, I'm in a better position than even Joe was, because maybe Joe didn't know many of the things. He knew them on the job training. But here I have somebody who I have to learn from. So it's a combination of so many things that a person who wants to succeed has to go through or do. But the advantage of it all is that many of the things that we want to do, or in many areas we want to excel in, there are so many reference points. So the major driving force is yourself. Because it's in me. Take time to go and sit with Joe, to make time and learn from him, and be recording and be studying that and trying to apply and go back to check and what. It's me. So the majority of the work is within me. It's in me. That's why you discover certain people. You say, no, I'm not giving up, because they've already put a lot in it. They've put a lot of things. They don't want to see this tree that they grew from 25 years past to collapse in one day. They'll say, no, I've already invested a lot in it. I know where I'm going, and I know that's the purpose of determination. That's where now self-confidence.
Absolutely.
Now is that.
Yeah. So how would you say you go about rebuilding your self-confidence? For those who are currently in a state of low confidence, how would you say you're going to rebuild your confidence? Because for me personally, I find when I go through phases where my confidence isn't high, it's either because I haven't been as competent as I thought I'd be at a task, or I've let external factors get me inside, and now it takes a while to get those shed the comments off of yourself, reboot and go again. But I find the main way I go back to a confident space is I go and do what I already know I'm good at, because that always proves to me you are exactly who you thought you were. But for those people who are going through moments of low confidence, how would you tell them rebuild it?
For that, just agreeing with what you said, I think just going back to the basics, the fundamentals of what it is, because sometimes we get so ahead of ourselves. I know I should be able to do this. I've done this all the time. This shouldn't be an issue to me. But sometimes we need to stop and say, okay, let's go back a bit and just start back from level one and then build back on that. Especially if you're lacking confidence, you just need to make sure you can do the bait. You can crawl before you walk, and maybe you can walk before you can run, and so on. So I think that's just agreeing with you.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. Basics are very important. Simple startup basics. What you started with and what have you. Yeah. Now, you see, in our modern day, in the electronic world we are living today, when a certain gadget or a certain electronic ware is not operating the way it was supposed to operate, and then it has been checked and you discover that almost everything is intact. This is just something technically wrong somewhere. What they do is they switch it off. They always put it there to give it a bit of rest. Normally, respite or rest is a big confidence booster.
I hear it.
There are many times that we've got fast running blood, especially the young generation. I want this to be done by 5 p.m. today. Now this is 4.
You're looking,
and you're looking at the time, you want to do it urgently, and you cannot even sleep over it, because you have a target and a limit to make sure this is effected. But you know what, even if it is 10, 15 minutes where you just say, okay, let's just start from scratch, let's start from the ground, because it's better to show the work that we are supposed to present, that it hasn't been finished, but I've still done A, B, C, and what have you. You discover most of the time when we come from a place of rest or respite, we have more energy than when we are still operating with stress, or when we are drained, because we've been working on it the whole day. In the Bible, there's a place where Elijah had destroyed 450 prophets of Baal, single-handed, on Mount Carmel, 1 Kings chapter 18. Brethren, to kill 450 people, and these were not just simple people. These were fighters. They were fighting for their religion, and the religious fights are very dangerous. Because it means 450 versus one person, but he managed to destroy them all. That was a lot of work. I don't know how he was doing it. That's why I say the Bible leaves certain things for us to study. What did he use? If it was today, maybe we say he used a revolver, but there was no revolver. There were no bombs. So it means he was using a physical. He may have hired people, but even to get 450 prophets, all of them, everybody sliced. There was a lot of work that was done there. And after that, he went to a mountain to pray for rains to come after 3.5 years. And for 7 times, he was seated in that fetal position, like a fetus in a womb that stays there in the womb, praying like that. And the man was drained of energy and what have you. And then when that happened, the rain is coming, the man had to run, an old man. Ran to overtake the king's chariot. It means he was speeding. And he went back and passed the palace. The king had not arrived yet in a fast-running chariot, the fastest chariot of the nation. He overtook it. because the hand of God was on. I'm just trying to show you the man was stressed, was drained, and he came to a place where now he needed to rest.
Yeah, he did.
But as I was resting, if it was today, you turn off your TV and you see the Queen is speaking. I've heard that this man has destroyed all our prophets who were we keeping here in the palace, 450 of them, and he has done all sorts of funny things concerning our religion. Tomorrow, about this time, if he would not be like one of them, ask me if I'm not Queen Jezebel. And the press statement has come there. And the man rose from where he was hiding and went into the wilderness, the forest, not to the temple to pray, but into the wilderness. He even forgot his servant, his God. And when he went there, he was now on a journey to reach the mountain of God where he used to go and pray and hide or what have you. It was going to take him 40 days walking, fast running or what have you. But he was so tired after the stressful day he had the previous day at that odd age. Do you know what he did? He came to a place where he could not go anymore.
Yeah.
He rested, he slept. It had to take an angel there to wake him. Hey, right. When you woke up from there, he said, what are you doing here, man of God? No, I've been the only person who has survived and this level. So take me, Lord, take me. And there's no one who is minding about me. There he was. And then, do you know what the angel did? The solution. He didn't tell him that, oh no, God, please. Can you rise up? There's some food here. We brought you some cake and boiled meat. What was it? He's saying, "Come down." You've been fatigued. You need your mind in the motion. What was it? They allowed him to switch off and to reboot himself. And before he could start out the journey, say, "Rise, eat." It does happen 2, if not 3 times on the journey. They knew that this man. Yes, the computer is in front, but it's not working. But this man needs to take a bit of a drink. He needs to take a cake or whatever to boost up the sugar levels, to have the energy. Because you see, in this life, the way God designed us, everything functions when we are in the right frame of mind. True. So even the issue of self-confidence or lack of confidence is an issue that it can come to you when you are so drained, when you are so you feel incapacitated, disabled to function. But when you give your mind some rest, and the respite comes all over your body, you discover the same task that you have struggled with for 8 hours can be done in 8 minutes. You say, how come I struggled the whole day, but here I've done it, you see? So there are so many things that can come into refill, replenish the oil, the drained oil, the strength that was going. If you can just give yourself time, and time, one of those vital time is time to rest. But I also go ahead for mature people to say, time to wait. There are times that you need to hold on patiently. Because Rome was not built in a day. No. There are certain things that you see, you factor in the waiting. I always say that waiting periods are not wasting periods. You don't waste time when you are waiting. Especially when you are waiting upon the Lord. Similar in this life, there are certain things that you wait for. Good things are worth waiting for. I've seen people who have really given up in life, who have really lost hope or lost encouragement because the thing has not been working. Every time they've tried to do it, hasn't worked. But you see, after waiting and trying, brethren, what comes at the end of the day is always a jewel. I've seen people who have been rejected by girl after girl. But because of the power of waiting, the one that they will bring here will be almost everybody, even the one who rejected, is feeling jealous. Where did he fish? Say the person had to wait. The person had to go through it and whatever. Do you know what? There's nothing like waiting upon the Lord, and then finally what you had hoped for comes. You get the best. Absolutely. And you say, there's nothing wrong in waiting. So waiting is a big morale booster. When you are in that waiting room, many people laugh at you. But those that have waited, the Bible says God will never put to shame those that wait upon him. It's all over the Bible. When you wait upon God, and in this life, when you wait for the right time to do certain or to achieve certain things, that means you have tried, you've been trying, you have worked, you have done it. So it's not just like you are waiting the whole of your life, but you come to a place where you say, you know what? I'm waiting for my opportunity. I'm waiting for the right time
Absolutely.
to go for it again or to do it better, but I'm still working. Because waiting, it doesn't mean that you just remain idle. There's still some groundwork you are doing, some foundations you are laying so that this thing should not corrupt, because you have given all the time to put it in proper shape from the basics, from the foundation and what have you. So you discover that lack of self-confidence is an inner poison that you can inject into yourself, but also the boosting of self-confidence is an inner
Energizer.
adrenaline that you can actually develop within yourself by doing certain things in their time, in their right perspective, without panicking and without raising the hurrah or whatever alarm to everybody out there. When it works out, everybody says, "Oh, what a boy, what a man, what a
absolutely,
chap."
yeah.
Not knowing how you had to go through certain things that involved waiting, working underground, resting a bit, giving yourself that self-confidence. You know what? One of these days, everybody will be so surprised what God will achieve or what will happen in my life as I achieve in this area better than maybe it has been done before. Why? Because you had to go through thick and thin, but there was something special awaiting you as you were working towards it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's so true. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on today's episode about confidence. As we continue to speak about mental blocks and how to overcome them, remember that your confidence is within. I always say, people say fake it till you make it, but I think it should be faith it until you make it.
Yeah,
Because you,
yeah.
you need the faith
Yeah,
to keep
yeah,
going. So
yeah,
this has been Crossroads Calling, where faith meets real life. I have been your host, Aram. I've been joined with Joy and Bishop Tifa,
Amen.
and we'll see you next week.